Well, being at 5:05, we'll call our meeting to order.
This is slight. In the background.
Okay. Here's some bills for us to pass around. And we've got minutes from the March 17th meeting. If everybody has had a chance to review them, somebody could make a motion to accept them as presented. Or if you find anything you would like to change.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes for March 17th, 2025 as presented.
Okay. Bill second, you okay?
Yeah.
Bill seconds it. Anybody have any discussion on that? Any changes, anything? Everything look good to everybody?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Joyce, what do we got going on that you'd like to talk about tonight?
So septic obviously starting to pick up with the springtime. We are seeing an uptick in field, the Title V, I think it's part of the courses, some of these older systems. People are starting to sell the houses. They need to be upgraded, so we are seeing that. We had an incident at Susie's Kitchen again where I was called on 2 Fridays ago at 8:30 because they had caused the alarms to go off in the mall. Turns out their hood system wasn't operating, so they basically, the smoke caused the alarm to go off. It took over a week for them to get up and running again because of needing to not only repair the hood, also do a deep clean. Product had to be discarded, and then on top of that, they had an oven that was not functioning correctly, so that had to be repaired before they could be reopened. So that was a fair amount of follow-up for that. I've also attended some online trainings to do with new camp regulations, swimming pool, beach testing, and be attending something in Devon's. It's a more comprehensive training on all those 3 topics. I think that's next week. And then towards, I think it's the middle of May, I'll be going out to do a refresher for soil evaluator class that's out in the western part of the state. It's actually one of the dig seat sites that we used when you take the test. Excuse me, when you do the practice piece of it. So we'll be going out, actually Lauren from Duxbury will be attending. The grant was able to fund that, so that's been helpful because obviously our resources are limited. And then just trying to think if there's anything else comes. The issue at the school, I was called to investigate,
Which school?
the intermediate school.
Okay.
Apparently there was a water leak, there was a complaint of odor. I went, I could not smell anything. Did investigate and check the building for any sign, the area that the leak occurred in. Both, there was 2 classrooms that were involved. There's no sign of water damage. I met with the principal, the custodians, as well as the teachers union safety officer was also present. So at this point, there's nothing further that this department can do. I did tell them that if they, the teachers union wishes to continue investigating, that either OSHA or certainly they could pay for air quality testing, but that's really the only recommendations I can make at this time. I didn't see any damage, so there's nothing. I would just explain to them, even if it was residential, there's nothing for me to cite because there is no excessive moisture. There's nothing. That's pretty much it as far as the report goes. We'll just continue to work on moving all the digitized files into the correct folders and going through and making sure everything's right.
And you bumped into a couple of situations with inspections, problems with systems that you think,
So we have a system over at Morgan's Way. The homeowners have been there, I think, not quite 2 years. They bought the house new, but it's my understanding that the house was on the market for a bit before they actually moved into it, before they bought it, but
so it was vacant.
yeah, nobody had previously lived there. But they were running into septic issues. It's backing up. They had to have a company come in and clean because it backed up into the basement.
Well,
Yeah, and then, so the homeowner came over, I went out and investigated, and the sewer pipe coming from inside the house to go through the foundation is evidence that there were 2 holes made in the foundation, at some point. And the pipe was not pitched correctly. A local installer who happens to know these people in passing, I believe through a church, went over and helped them out and out of the goodness of their heart, fix the problem. Called me and told me, because this was like an emergency repair on a Friday night. I got a phone call first thing this morning, he left it open, so I'll be out till, I didn't make it today, because by the time I got it, I had an appointment at Mass Maritime. So I'll be going out first thing in the morning to look at it. Hopefully that will be the end of the situation. Kind of unfortunate
Yeah,
happening.
I'm sorry to hear that happened to
Yeah.
that family.
that's too bad.
And then Mass Maritime will be we're working collaboratively with a group of students to do emergency preparedness. So we will be doing that final presentation on the 29th. So it's the fire chief, police chief, myself, town administrator, planner, sewer, water, and DPW will be meeting to do this project. They basically give us a scenario, it's to give us all a chance to run through. And my understanding is we'll also hopefully have a MEMA evaluator present for this. So it should be interesting and at least a good run through for us to make sure we're prepared in case of an emergency. So that's it.
I'm really good at triage if you ever need it.
Thanks.
Now,
This is really to do with like a hurricane, like what are we gonna do with debris and that kind of stuff.
I'm just good triager.
That's good.
I'll put you in
Come
touch.
get your chainsaw system.
I've got it at home. It's battery
back
operated.
to this ADU septic plan review.
Yep,
What are you thinking there?
I firmly,
It flies in the face of a number of our current regulations.
what do you mean? The ADU thing itself, you mean?
Yes,
Yes.
2 systems on a lot. There's a bunch of things that I understand what they're trying to do. but
So
on
do
the
I.
same token, it's,
Most people are not putting 2 systems on their lot. Where the issue becomes a problem is when somebody says, let's say they have a 3-bedroom house, but they're assessed, because of our 800 square
you
foot,
got-
it really qualifies as 4.
or,
DEP says that doesn't matter. There needs to be a separate tank and install, you can go to the same field if the output is there. So maybe that you need to,
if the capacity. is there,
right, and
yes.
it may mean that you need an expansion on your capacity.
Right. you can upgrade
However,
it.
if you, at any point during any of this, your system is not compliant as of 1995, the whole thing
Okay.
needs to be replaced. If it is, let's say, a newer system, and you can safely engineer an expansion onto your system, and there can be a second tank that goes into it to allow for, you have 2 choices, 2 tanks or a new tank with a baffle. Any of that is fine. But this is why I'm asking for a review fee for ADU septic, because this is like getting a brand new system. Everything has to be reviewed and looked at to make sure that we are in compliance with not only our own regulations, but
The
also.
way I left it the last time, you were gonna,
Yes, well, we're ahead of the curve, Joe.
okay,
We were not able to find anybody at this point. It's so new. It just came in February, so
I get it.
I'm just jumping on it because I'm getting slammed with this stuff.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
It is my understanding that when you go to do any substantial remodel to your home,
Mhm.
that it needs to meet, like, or even in addition, that you have to meet Title V.
Absolutely.
So why is this different?
So because it's two separate
That's
facilities, so think about it, if you are adding a bedroom onto your house, right? It's still within the same footprint. Let's say you went up or you
But say
finished
it's
the
not,
garage.
It's
It's not my rule, it's DEP's rule.
Okay.
This is DEP, and
Yeah.
they're trying to
I'm not making
accommodate.
these rules.
no, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think because you have two separate systems. So let's say you had a one-bedroom ADU. You could technically, it could be two people in that. I understand that even in your own house, but it's unlikely that somebody's gonna add an extra bedroom and add two people. It's usually they're making an extra bedroom for their
And they're letting
kid.
them use the single bedroom design of
Yeah.
110 gallons a day, which.
My feeling about the whole thing is the Title V needs to be revised to be up. Think about how we lived in 1995. Water consumption was different. Appliances were different. I just think that they probably at some point, I'm guessing in the near future, are going to have to look at how we are assessing what the daily output is gonna be, but at this point, that's the rules I have to follow. I am, running into issues with the ADUs, so now I'm seeing, oh, I'm making an office and a gym. Yeah, that's great, but that's wonderful in building code, but it does not fly for Title V. It is considered a bed, if you can put a bed in it and make it a bedroom, it's a bedroom, so then the septic output has to match that. The other issue, based on what your town bylaws actually say, anybody doing a remodel is supposed to submit plans that are stamped and not on a piece of graph paper, hand drawn. And so I have been getting that, so I've had a conversation with the building commissioner, that if anybody wants to do anything that requires my approval for septic, it needs to be a stamped plan with everything drawn out, including plumbing fixtures and what's going down there, because the hand drawings are not cutting it. So that's been on two separate cases already, just within the last week and a half. So, and we are deeding people when we run up against these issues where people, are
Okay.
putting stuff, we're just having a deed put on there saying that how many bedrooms are in the house, so that when the house is sold, it can't be sold as more. Because their gym suddenly turned into a bedroom.
What's the
For real
current
estate,
fee
right?
for a plan review on a full septic system?
What do we charge for?
Help me out.
No, just for like when you get a repair or a,
For a new, it's
For a
200.
new
for
system,
Repair, it's 150.
how much?
150 for repair, 200 for new.
so I think 200 is too high.
I do too, I'm thinking of $100.
100, I think that's more than fair.
I'd like to put this behind us and
Moving
get it
along.
set up and be done with it, that's
For the
why
80 feet.
I
Yep.
would move that the board authorize the charge of $100 for plan review on these ADU systems.
I'll second it.
Any thoughts, anything else? All in
I think
favor?
this is gonna be evolving.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we're
what
gonna see a
people
lot of
do.
this, yeah.
Yes, that's
We'll
why I
talk
just
about taking
assumed
care
get
of
it
our
done.
parents and, yeah.
People moving
Okay.
in.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll get that.
So
on.
we'll institute that,
Put it on the fee schedule.
no, I know, but I feel like we need to give a little warning. Today's what, the 7th? So
You could send this out to the design engineers, the list. who
I'm
have
saying,
the
I'm thinking like
designers.
May 1st is a new fee will be instituted May 1st. That's
fine.
fair. It's 20 days or so.
That's fine.
Okay.
Hopefully we don't get flooded in the meantime.
Yeah, that's my concern. Do you think I should make it 2 weeks? Like, open to suggestions.
I would go immediately, but that's up to
I
you.
would go immediately too,
Yeah, just get it, that's it. It's
because
done.
then it's done. We've
Okay.
decided this
Yeah.
goes here forward. If we're doing an
We voted
ADU,
it tonight. Somebody
Okay.
walks through the door tomorrow with one, you got it.
All right, we'll post it on the town website, we'll post it on our website, and any engineers that we have currently listed, we will send an email saying, hey, just a heads up. Any septic reviews to do with ADUs will now require $100.
I think that will keep you from getting
Reinspection.
inundated too. If people are trying
So
to.
now so that's just for the review. If they have to do a repair or a new system, that those other fees still apply.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I just want to be
Just to
clear, so that,
review
just
that.
to review the plan, okay?
Okay.
All right,
Okay, so we're done with, pretty much done with the fees and
yeah.
we took care of all of that. And now we're into the regulations.
Well, the only other thing we had, if you see where Lori wrote down under discussion, is the food inspection and grading and then subsequent re-inspection fees. Don't know how we want, so we have a re-inspection fee, so when we go to your restaurant or whatever, and we, initial inspection, we say to you, Heidi, you have to correct gaskets and labeling. Second inspection, we go back and you did it, no fee, that's it. It's great, it's closed out. You didn't do it, we issue a $75 charge, fine, because we have to come back a third time. So I guess my question is, like this emergency that I had happen, we literally went back 3 times? At least 3 times, because in the initial investigation, I clearly wrote as well as told what had to be fixed. And it wasn't. Got called back, oh, it's fixed, it's fixed. It wasn't. So literally had to go there 3 times. So to me, that's problematic because it was written down, it was stated.
So did you charge them?
I
this?
didn't because it's not, I didn't know how that felt because it was an emergency situation. It wasn't in the scope of an inspection. It was I got called in because of a catastrophe, for lack of a better way to put it.
But if they're telling you everything's ready to be re-inspected and have
And the
failed to comply with the written and verbal of the same information.
Yeah. So we can charge. All right, I felt better bringing it to the board for making sure that that was within the parameters of what we decided.
Yes,
Okay.
if they have
That's
said
fine.
that this is complete, please come re-inspect, and then they have failed to
Yep.
follow your direction,
Okay,
I think that's perfectly appropriate.
okay. And then the last part under the discussion, other than the regulations, was the question about whether we want to adopt, other towns are doing it, the sort of grading and posting system where if you score 90 to 100, you get an A. If you score 80 to 89, you get a B. Anything under that is a C. And the merchants are required to post that prominently so that people can see what their food inspections are, so that people are educated about where they're choosing to eat. If I have a business that has had 6 re-inspections, 6, and it's still uncorrected.
I have a question for you. Does the grade go below a C?
We could, but typically they're,
I was gonna say.
typically,
I don't know if
I
I
hope
want that.
not.
Do you
I
want to
don't
go
know,
meet
yeah.
at the place that has been re-inspected 6 times and still has code violations?
granted, it's a convenience store, so you're not hopefully,
But still,
know.
you know, it is being transparent to the consumers and the residents
Right.
of the town.
We have the right to know.
We do have the right to know who
I
is
mean-
failing to comply.
I get that food inspections are public information, anybody can request it, but let's be honest, how many of the people in the general public are saying, hey, I wanna know how Joe Blow's place
Right.
is doing. Versus if it's posted and you're made to put it on your front door, that shows that you are compliant and doing a good job. I kind of feel like, as someone who worked in the industry, if I'm doing a good job, I want
I wanna
people
be
to know that
recognized.
I'm doing a good job, you know? And B doesn't mean it's bad, it just means you had a few things you gotta work on. But when you get into the Cs,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't wanna go eat at something that's got a D or an F.
that's why generally speaking, it's only A, B, C.
Yeah,
But
but
if
if,
you're at a D or an F, you should be losing your permit. That's how I
was
feel
gonna
about
say
it.
that,
True.
I
That's
don't
how
even
I
think
feel
we
about
should-
it,
okay.
seriously, like
Yeah.
if you can't get it together, you shouldn't be allowed.
yeah, because you're putting the public at danger.
And then we're gonna hear about it anyway, so we might as well just.
And I do know that,
I'd like time to think about this.
yeah, I don't expect anybody to, I wanted to throw it out there. I mean, I know that it has shown to be really helpful in getting people, business owners to do the right thing, to pay attention, to make sure that their staff is doing the right thing. So it certainly don't want to hurt anybody's business, but if you don't care and you're not following through on re-inspection stuff, that's a problem.
Yeah. I completely understand where you're coming from. I just need time to digest it all.
Absolutely, yep.
I'd like to see a format of what you're proposing to post,
Sure,
because
The ones that
a
I've
lot
seen,
of
Joe,
people's world, they see a posting and it says Board of Health. And it immediately implies a negative, something's wrong.
no, not
you
at all.
you walk in and it's got like the Board of Health up here with like a
A
big
rating.
A.
Yeah. A
Or
That's why I
big
wanna
B,
see what
yeah,
this is
yeah.
gonna be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so maybe make up some
If it was
mock-up
a
one
big
for our
Board of
next
Health,
You
meeting.
can do
and
that.
a little A.
No,
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 no.
no, I want, this
Five
is,
stars.
this
and
is
then-
my
Establishment has earned an A
Right.
rating from the health
From the
department.
Board of
This
Health.
establishment has earned a B rating from the
Right.
health department.
Yeah, but I want it being like
No, that's what it is on a
Huge.
8/11. It's something we hand out.
nice and bold.
You understand?
Yeah,
I'm just-
Absolutely.
I just.
No, I want to do due diligence and do it the right way.
Yeah.
And also, if we are gonna implement it, we put everyone on notice that, hey, starting, I'm arbitrarily thinking, July 1st, going forward, this is what's gonna happen. You'll be required to post this, because you guys will actually have to vote on it to say that all businesses will have to post that marking.
Right, and if they really care, they'll be happy to put it up and say, yeah,
Exactly.
I'm
I think
complying.
99% of restaurants, because most of our
Most of our
restaurants
restaurants are
actually do
great.
quite
Yeah.
well.
Well, they're,
And they should be acknowledged for doing
Yeah,
quite
right.
well. Like when you have people
They're
that
doing the
actually
right thing.
care,
yeah,
you know,
We'll think about
okay,
a big ol' A.
it. Okay. Okay. Back to the regulations. You wanna go through them a little bit or what?
we gave them to you guys to read.
Yeah, I know.
So
Well,
what
has
has
anybody-
anybody read and done about them?
Well, we discussed
know
them, we
Cheryl
just
has.
couldn't have a forum
Well, that's
because we
good.
didn't have, we didn't have
a full
everybody
board.
here. So
And
every
once again,
time-
we're without a full board.
Right.
Find any that you felt were wrong in any way.
Or needed to be updated?
So I did, in the last meeting, when you said you had a complaint about some roosters and you said you were gonna address it and
Complain about.
I did.
some roosters. Was it
Okay.
because of the noise
Yeah.
making? Okay, so that was my thing, with those regulations, was the time. Do we have a regulation for landscapers that they can't start, or construction that they
Ours
can't
is the
start at a
same.
certain time?
It's 9 PM to 7 AM is the quiet time. I think that applies to
Right.
everybody. It doesn't matter what
Is that a
the
state?
nuisance is.
Is that a state? Is that
I
a
believe
state
that's
law?
what you guys voted.
That's
Well,
what
in
that
your
was
bylaw.
in, yeah, that was put together from other towns as well, but I wasn't sure if that's a state one.
No, I believe that each town
Has their own
dictates their
discretion.
quiet hours, so to
Okay.
speak, for lack of a
Right.
better way to term it.
Okay, that would have been mine, like maybe 8 to 8 instead of 7 to, or I think ours is 6 to 9
No, it's 9 at night,
to
so
6 in the
7 in
morning.
the morning.
Ours is 6, I believe.
I was told
And that was
7.
where I have a problem.
That's right. I was confronted with it once and I know, that's right.
Okay, well, Cheryl said she thought it was 6.
No,
It's 7? Okay.
Yeah.
9 to 7, that's what I was told.
I know it's 7 to start.
Yep.
So what are you thinking, that it needs to be?
no, she's trying to
Ours
relate it to the
Ours is,
roosters.
yeah, ours is 9 PM to 6 AM.
16, okay, so
So I
I
just
was
feel
told
like,
7, but I think that's not what I'm getting complaints for, is that at
Okay.
night, most people have the common sense to put them.
well, most of them go in anyways, but some of them don't. I get that.
But the issue is now becoming that I have neighbors who are working from home complaining about roosters crowing during the day, and I'm like, I can't do anything about that, like, I
No.
have no.
Right.
You know.
That's a
That would be
neighbor
like me
thing.
complaining about the Canadian geese
They're
honking every time they fly over my house between the football field and Silver Lake.
Right, I know.
They just kind
And
of.
I understand, I do, it's not, I get it, like, I would not be happy either, but I can only enforce what's set forth. And,
Those regulations caused a lot of turmoil.
oh, yes,
throughout
don't
the-
you remember? First week, I had it,
Yes.
I wasn't even here a week and I had to get up and speak about it.
I know.
So, yeah,
Think of all the time before that.
Yes,
And Cheryl was
I spent
very,
2 years doing it. But yes, it is, it's hard to, you can't control your rooster. I mean, you can, we have stipulations.
I mean,
we
you
have
could have kids
recommendations.
outside yelling and
Screaming,
screaming and
talking,
playing
yeah.
all day, and you can't call in a noise complaint.
well, you can,
You
but it's
can,
gonna
but
go
yeah.
on. deaf
It's
ears
like a
or
dog
something.
barking.
If it's during daylight hours. It's typically,
I just, yeah, I mean, I don't feel like there's any, I don't have any
you don't.
possibility of doing anything about it, and I've explained that to people repeatedly that, unfortunately, that's what the rules are, so.
As long as they're within the regulations, then
I mean, really, at this point, the only other option is that the town decide that roosters are not permitted, so good luck with that.
We have a
Oh, I
substantial
remember.
number of regulations already.
Especially compared to most of the other
Oh,
towns.
I'm aware of that.
And what I was
So,
gonna suggest, rather than look to,
I'm not looking for any more regulation.
okay,
She's just looking for the board to say, yeah, you have nothing to stand on.
I can't do anything.
so if we was to take the stance that we believe that right now we've covered all of the bases. And yet, if all of a sudden you start getting complaints that aren't covered, then look at that particular
Well, we are.
situation. What, like what?
The roosters
roosters
are
are-
crowing all during the day, like incessantly. And it's not one neighborhood. I've got
That's a tough
one up
right?
on Wapping. I've got the Nook, people from the Nook calling me. That
What do you wanna do?
I don't want to do anything. I don't live in this town.
I
It's
understand.
not up to me to decide what is appropriate or not appropriate. And if it's a health hazard, absolutely. I would have an opinion, but,
Well, maybe it
I
is to the person that can't
one does
sleep.
not need a rooster to conduct laying business, because I had chickens. You don't need a rooster to make a chicken lay an egg. So they are not a necessity. It's not, you're not breeding them, you don't need them. But other than that, that's my opinion on the whole matter.
This is kind of your thing.
I've been down that road.
Huh?
I've been down that road and I know it, and I feel for these residents that, because you can't control them and it's sad, and I understand that they're pets. I love animals and I never had a problem with the animals. Most of the time it's a neighbor thing. Or, I mean, I feel the same. You don't need a rooster. And
I thought there was a device they could put on.
there is,
That's,
there's a
it's
crowing
not,
collar, but it's not really.
the main thing.
No?
And if it's happening
I don't-
during daytime
It's
hours,
being a normal, the problem is it's just being a rooster.
yeah,
It's doing rooster things.
It feels threatened, so it's before it's going to crow when it feels threatened.
No, roosters crow because they're boys. They are calling their girls saying, hey, I'm here. Come visit with me. it's what they're doing. You know, it's daytime, they're just being a rooster.
Yeah.
The cat call of the chicken world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly. No different than a dog baying when you have a female dog in heat. They're gonna bay.
Yeah.
So I don't really see there's much you can do about it, other than not have a rooster.
I agree.
So the town voted to allow it, so I will just continue to reiterate the 9 to 6 time frame of non-crowing, and we'll just keep track if we
I was
keep
gonna
getting
say,
more and more.
that
If
might
you
be
guys
a
wanna
thing,
do
yeah.
Something.
As time goes on, especially with the egg situation right now, people are probably wanting more chickens. But I would just keep a log of complaints.
Well, and the other thing is we'll get calls, like I had somebody call today, they don't wanna tell me. They would say they were in Rocky Nook, but they wouldn't say anything else. Cause they thought that the person they were having the issue with would retaliate. So I can
I
get
get
calls, but I don't always know where the issue is, cause people don't wanna say it.
Do they know that they can call anonymously?
They are calling anonymously, but
Oh.
they don't wanna tell me where it is, so that if you don't wanna tell me where it is, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, they have to understand they're tying your hands in that
Yes.
instance. You know,
They don't have to tell you who they are, but they do have to tell you
please tell
where.
us the location.
Yeah.
So we can attempt to help
Right.
the residents.
And the issue with that becomes if I go to your house and I say, excuse me, I'm from the health department, I have an anonymous complaint, blah, blah, blah. How are you as the resident gonna feel and you don't even know who's accusing you of,
Well, it could be.
you know what I'm
anybody.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like
Yeah,
you
but
need to
if
know
they-
who it is.
But if
Did
they
you
don't
ever-
realize that it's an issue and maybe they can put the rooster in the,
Right, no, I get it,
You know?
but we
I don't
have
know.
had that question, well, who said something?
Well,
I have a right to know. They kinda
Not
do.
when they call anonymously.
Yeah,
If they're not giving you the name, you can just say it's anonymous.
no, I understand
Yeah.
that, but
But
if you were
the-
the one being accused.
Right.
You'd wanna know where it's coming from, because that's the other thing, I don't need to get into the middle of
Right.
neighbor disputes. 'Cause
which
this
is
one don't like
exactly
that
where
one.
this puts us.
Right.
Exactly, and so, I mean, that's not with the health department as far as
Right.
mediation.
Exactly. I know
If I wanted to be a mediator, I would have stuck with the shrinking job.
that.
Gone into social work instead.
So-
Okay. Does anybody have any new or old business they'd like to bring up now? Anything at all? Anything? Anything?
Do we have anything to do with this CERT program that's gonna be happening at the Council on Aging? I don't know if you've heard anything about that. CERT?
Nope, this is,
Community emergency response teams that are looking for people in the community to join their.
is this strictly for elderly for the COA?
No, I think it's for the town.
It sounds more like a town run thing.
Yeah,
Okay, so, no.
okay. I was just
I
curious.
don't-
But we
haven't
should
been-
have a hand in it.
Right, but I
because
haven't been
I'm gonna
contacted, I have no
attend.
idea who.
I'm
is
gonna
doing
attend,
it.
yeah. It's,
I think it's put out by the fire.
Well, I mean, I work with Mark.
You just ask Mark.
yeah. Like I said, I saw it and I was like, oh, I wonder if we have any information on that.
I know a lot of the other towns do it.
Yeah,
And they have like emergency response within the towns
The town, yeah.
themselves to help stage and.
Or you sign up and you're gonna be responsible for checking on
Yeah, they train you.
6 people that you know are independent people that might be elderly and check
That's
on
the
them.
county, the
Yeah.
county sheriff's department does
time.
that.
Okay.
Trust me, they call my mother every morning.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and then she calls me.
That's not good. That was just a question.
All
I
right,
saw it and I said, I'm gonna attend it, so.
okay. Well,
Wondering if
I
had
anything,
something
let
in-
me know. will you?
I've talked about it several times over at the Council on Aging, during campaigns, but it's about time if they're gonna do something. I think it's great. There are people out there that are alone,
Mhm.
secluded. Next thing you know, you're there. It's not good.
Mhm.
So
So,
you gotta keep track of your people.
That's right.
okay, well, if that's
Next
it,
meeting,
that's
May
it.
5th,
I'm
Cinco de
sorry.
Mayo. Our next meeting is May fifth.
Yes,
April
it is.
21st is
May
Patriots
5th.
Day.
Good, Laurie.
So, if I look at the septic plan, the septic regulations that we have, and I see anything that needs to be changed, is it better that for me to just type up what is different and then put it in front of you guys for you to look at? Like, how do we move forward with getting regulations brought up to
If
like
you
well
find
as the other
something
one?
that you think should be changed, just bring it to the next
Okay.
meeting and we'll look at it.
If you have it typed up so everybody can read through it, it gives them time to process it
Yep,
too,
that's fine.
especially if we get it with Lori's email. For those of us that like to
That
read our
actually
email,
read it.
stop it.
I do. I
I know you do,
respond.
Cheryl.
I respond.
I don't
We
respond.
know you read it.
I don't respond, but I read it.
Yeah.
But it lets me process it a little bit
No, of
before we
course.
come in and formulate some thoughts,
Yeah.
so I give constructive feedback.
No, that's cool.
Okay,
So
well,
May 5th,
May fifth,
okay.
motion to adjourn.
second,
Did you
2
have something else
seconds
you
I got
wanted?
on that.
I heard Bill.
Cheryl and Bill, tandem.
Everybody but Joe.
All in favor?
I.
Aye, thank you all very much.